line here at the park. So we've got Max here with me. He is our breeding male feline. And then we've got two mums and daughters. So I think Kira and Sprat are with Leanne, possibly. Right, they're over with Sarah. Okay. So Kira and Sprat are over with Sarah on the waterfall area. So they're a mum and daughter, and then Leanne's feeding Monica and Leonie, who are also a mum and daughter. Sprat's actually our eldest. She's 19 years old, and sea lions can live up to about 20 to 30 years in captivity, so you have a very good lifespan. Now these guys are Californian sea lions, so you can probably guess where they're found in the wild, although saying that they do go all the way up the coastline to Canada and Alaska and right down to Mexico, so they cover quite a big range out from the American coastline. We're just feeding them a little bit of brunch this morning. We've got herring and sprats this morning. They get different amounts depending on the size of the animal, but we'll feed them about 6 times a day. We do lots of different training sessions with them. So this one's just a nice calm feed that we do with them. The size of the adults depends on whether they're male or female. So female felines are usually about 80 to 90 kilos, whereas males can be much, much bigger. So they can be sizes of up to 200 to 300 kilos. So as you can imagine, Max does get through a little bit more fish than our female felines. So, but generally on average, they get through about 10 to 15 pounds of fish every single day. So we get through an awful lot of fish here at the park, especially if you feed our fish and so on as well. Now these guys, as you can see, demonstrated by the lovely Monica and Leonie there, very well adapted to life in the water. One of the main differences actually between sea lions and other marine animals like the seals and walruses, for example, is that they have these enormous front flippers. So as you saw those two girls doing just then, they can actually leap really high out of the water if they want to. Those big front flippers are shaped like big oars, so there's an awful lot of power behind them. And as you can see, they can get pretty high out of the water there. They do have a couple of smaller features as well that help them out when they're in the water. So you notice that they have really long whiskers down the side of their face, and those are really sensitive. So they've got lots of nerve endings in them, and they can use those to detect the movements of fish as they're swimming around. So obviously sometimes they will be diving at quite deep depths to catch their fish, and the water can get a little bit murky and dark. So those whiskers come in very, very handy. You'll notice as well when they pop their heads up out of the water that they make a strange snorting noise, and that's because a sea lion's nostrils are naturally closed. They have to force them open to take air in. So that's what the strange snorting noise is all about. And they can hold their breath for about 10 to 15 minutes under the water, which is pretty impressive. They've got a really, really good lung capacity, which is what enables them to dive so deep as well. So they can go a couple of 100 feet under the water to actually catch their fish. They're very, very sociable animals, so you'll find them in groups of about 30 to 40 normally. So we've got a nice small family group here at the park. But you'll usually get a male feline at the head of the pack, and then you'll get the females with their offspring. When the male offspring reach about 6 or 7 years old, that's when they would start maturing, and they would go off and find their own group of females to look after and breed with. So the males will start maturing fairly young at 6 or 7 years old, and they will develop a few different features from the females, so they'll get much bigger, as I was saying earlier. They will also get a hairy mane around their neck as well, which is where the lion part of their name comes from. And they get a cranial crest as well, which is just an